Okay, our next example is the shirtwaist sleeve. So we are going to start by doing a straight sleeve. So again, trace the top of our sleeve cap. And I'm just going to trace the bottom corners. Next, we are going to extend the legs downward on both sides. Now, from the bottom in, so from each corner in, we need to move it in, let's see, 3/8 of an inch. So 1, 2, 3. Erase this line. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to connect it from the top corners down to that new notch. Perfect. Next, I'm just going to erase this line since it is no longer needed. And we are ready for the next step, which is to move it up 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. I'm going to line this up, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. Okay, next let's do our middle grain line. I'm going to extend that all the way to the bottom. And you can add your little arrows. And then we need to make a guideline, which is between the middle of, let's actually, why don't we label these? So in between A and C, we need the halfway mark, which will be B. This is just about 3 inches, which means this is 1/2 of 3 is 1.5 inches. And then we're off by an eighth, so divide that in half again is 1/16. It's okay too, if you guys don't have a perfect measurement like that, you can always eyeball it, double check by measuring that side and that side. If they're even or close to it, it is fine. So that is our guideline B. Next, what we want to do is draw a wrist line 3/8 of an inch down from B. So I know this seems like a ridiculous measurement, but remember we're doing this in half scale, so that's why it has a little bit of a funky measurement. From B, we want to make a notch 3/8 down. So 1, 2, 3. Basically what we're going to do is curve this up. That way we can use it as a tuck or a pleat, actually. All right. So that is what we are going to do now. I'm going to actually label this side as D. So we're going to curve from A to B. And then we want to bring this softly back up to D. So as I am just tracing in lightly, what I want to do is grab my French curve and go ahead and draw that in. So you have a rounded edge on the bottom, which, let's see, I'm going to make this actually a little bit better on this side so it's not quite as rounded. I'm just going to take that in a little bit more, or you can always use the opposite edge to curve that back up. Cool. And then our next step will be adding the pleats. So in order to do this, we need to mark 2 notches for 1¼ inch pleats for a full scale pattern, or if we divide that in half, that is what, 5/8. That begin 1 inch away from the placket notch. Perfect. So from B on over, let's make a mark 1/2 inch, which, why don't we do this as dotted lines? So 1/2 inch over from B, we are going to do our first little dotted guideline. From there, we're going to make another dotted guideline 5/8 of an inch over. Then we want to do 3/8 of an inch in between. 1, 2, 3. Make our next dotted guideline. And then again, 5/8 of an inch from there. And I will write all these measurements. So from B to our first guideline is 1/2 inch. From that guideline over was 5/8 of an inch. In between both these guidelines is 3/8 of an inch, and then again 5/8 of an inch. So hopefully that clears that up for you, which, let me zoom in. So from B over 1/2 inch, from this guideline over 5/8 of an inch, next 3/8 of an inch, then again 5/8 of an inch. And then on my guidelines, I am going to draw an arrow on how and which way I would like the pleats to be sewn. So think of these as darts when we have to fold them a certain way. These pleats we want to be folded a certain way too. So we want them going towards the back of the arm. And all that is left now is to label. So this is our sleeve sloper. Chapter 10, example 4, and this is called the shirtwaist. This is a very traditional looking shirt, or excuse me, shirt sleeve or blouse sleeve. Then all that is left, cut this on out, make sure you true up any edges, and tape it to another sheet of paper.